start with the supplemental agenda. So do we have any citizens communication? I have two here. Okay, Jaden Tipton.
Yes.
You can stand up and address the board. Welcome.
Hello, Jaden Tipton, resident of Blockhouse Street. So, welcome to be here. So, excited.
Great.
Cool.
Do you have any citizen communication?
Anyway.
Any citizens communication, anything you want to share with the board?
Oh, no, I'm just here to kind of observe, see what's going on with the budget, what's going on.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, so, yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
fantastic. Cecilia.
Yes, hi, everybody. So I do have a handout and I'm gonna give it to you, so I'm gonna try to make this the 3 minutes. I understand we are being recorded, which is good, correct? All right, good. I have a memorandum and basically I'm concerned about the certified tax roll. The 2026 certified tax roll, which I was able to get off of the appraisal district, has dropped $37 million in value. My estimates, if we go with the current rate, is about a $200,000 deficit. So I'm very concerned about adopting the right tax rate in our spending. I'm seeing a lot of taxpayer waste, and I'm very concerned about the way the budgets are being handled and the expenditures that are being addressed over other priorities. I don't agree that the overlook, the boardwalk, should be through the bonds. Just the expense of selling through the bond is a waste of money. That project could probably be a $20,000 or less. All you gotta do is put boards down and deck. So I think it's been neglected over the several years, and I just certainly think y'all need to consider things on those line matters. You've got a lot of aging infrastructure, aging parks and amenities. You've got a lot of things, folks, that are going to catch up with you if you don't start looking at the prioritizing of what needs to be done in this district. Our values need to come up and not down, okay? This is a scary thought, but as you look at the district, and I hear it from a lot of people, they're very disappointed in the way the district's being maintained. Just if you walk it, you will see it. You cannot sit behind a computer and note what is happening in the district. So I've got this here and I am very concerned, and I just wanted to share my 2 bits with all of you. So I'm gonna give each one of you one of my papers, and like, I should do this. And then I'm gonna ask that this be put in the minutes and attached to the record.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay, let's go ahead and first agenda item is order calling director election for November 3rd, 2026.
Did you get one?
So Sean, do you want to go ahead and take that?
Yeah, I'm happy to walk through. So board members to confirm here, we are having to undertake all the required actions pertaining to the election in November. And so that is, it's all kind of standard stuff here. I'm happy to spend as much or as little time as you'd like. I'll review these on the agenda. All the backup for everything here is in the very back of your packet behind tabs 2A and B. We have the order calling the election, which is what it says. Pretty promulgated form here. Then we have behind tab 2, the joint election agreement and contract for election services and related resolution. This is essentially an agreement with Williamson County to run your election. Item number 3 is the notice of deadline to file applications for place on the ballot. That would be next Monday, August 17th. And item 4 is to authorize district attorney to give notice of November 3rd, 2026 direct election as required by law. I don't have anything else here. Item 5 is just a catch-all in case we do. But I'll go ahead and pause here and see if anybody has any questions.
Are there any questions from the directors? Okay, so do I have a motion to call the election for November 3rd, 2026?
And just in the related agreement as well.
Along with the related agreement.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Motion.
A second to the motion?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, and 1 non-vote. Okay, number 4?
Yeah, nothing else here. Number 4 is just the authorization for our office to give notice of it. And item 5, any other matters? Nothing else there. So I think we are done with our supplemental agenda.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, everyone. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and go into, this is just JD, you're new, so I just wanted to let you know, this is a budget workshop. This isn't a typical meeting where we pay all our bills and invoices and have reports from all of our vendors. We're basically are gonna work through our budget, the appraised values, and we have a finance subcommittee that has been working on this diligently, along with Tyler, and so they're gonna give us the recommendations. We may have a little bit of discussion, and then we'll go back and we'll meet again in 2 weeks, and we'll look at the budget again. So this is actually a pretty short meeting, okay? Everything is online. Also, as Cecilia mentioned, this is being recorded and it is streamed live, so anybody in Blockhouse can view this right now. It is unfortunate that we had to have the meeting here today, but we have had a pest and flea problem, and it should be open tomorrow after the deep cleaning. This is Friday morning. Yes, and it was not just a flea problem, it is, there were rats and different things, and it's an old building, and things like that happen, and it's happened in the past before, and with this weather, just added to it, so perfect storm. But thank you, David Gray, for allowing us to allowing you to host the meeting here. This is very helpful. And many years ago, we used to have our budget meetings here at MAC when they were here, and several of us made sure that we took them back to the district, because it is important to have our residents nearby so they can attend these meetings. So as much as people may be frustrated that we're not in the district today, we are transparent because you can see it online on the OWLs and you can watch the recording. With that, I'm gonna hand it over to Amanda and Tyler.
Okay, so do you wanna start?
Well, do we wanna start with the
Yeah,
tax stuff
that might be better to
Yes.
jump in.
I mean, you are the headliner. So, in your packets, you should have, I believe, my packet maybe, no? It usually looks like this.
Oh, it's
There
in
was
here.
no
Oh, okay.
packet posted on the
D.
website today.
Okay.
It's on Rudy.
Do we have physical copies?
You were
I
sent a copy, I
I
believe.
did not bring extra copies, but you are welcome to look at mine.
You should have been sent a copy from.
I agree, I should have been.
You,
Um,
I'll check that.
So, you'll see on that first page, your overall evaluation this year came in at $708,439,585. That is down from last year's $742,671,528. Good news, y'all are kind of nearing the end of the bigger bond payments. Next year's the last million plus. So then after that, it just goes down to those recent part bonds. So that actually, even though evaluations went down, we were still able to lower the debt service portion of your tax rate just a little bit from 1845 last year to a recommended 1835 this year. Your fire tax rate, last year was 1208. This year it went up a little bit to 1263. We're gonna be recommending the maximum tax rate allowable as a developed district under that 3.5% cap of 5910. That would allocate 2812 to maintenance and operations. My second page is where we actually do that calculation for your debt service portion of your tax rate. This is where we look at all your total outstanding debt, which currently is just under 7 million. And being able to maintain at least a 25% coverage in your overall debt service fund balance, which is a TCEQ requirement, and that's where we came up with that 1835. For the values, so last year's average appraised value was 366,885, and I'm on page 3 of my packet now. I apologize, I should have said that. This year, average appraised was 349,572. Last year's average taxable value was 334,576. This year it's 319,306. So at the very max, which is right under that 3.5. The average resident would see about a $64 increase from last year's tax bill to this year's. I can tell you that some of the background we've gotten from the appraisal district on why values have come in a little bit lower this year are due to market conditions and increased protests. Y'all might have noticed in spring and early summer, several companies that were vying for your business to follow your protest. So they've accounted for that, and a lot of it's just driven by current market conditions. So that's kind of the overall questions for me on that recommendation.
Or do you mind if I have one question for you, leading question, but can you talk about the other districts that you represent in Williamson County and what their AV looks like compared to this district?
So I have seen outside, particularly developed districts like y'all, I've seen decreases in overall evaluation. I have even seen some of my districts that are still growing, but they're kind of at that tail end of home building, saw almost stagnant AVs, even though they added. So that's kind of what we're seeing across the board is conservative values coming out, just with everything going on in the world and everything. And from talking to other people in the industry, currently the feeling is we could be looking at another potential market correction year next year. So that kind of drove our recommendation to at least publish at the max to give y'all as many pennies as possible for maintenance and operations, because y'all are an older district and things do come up. And we just wanted to present the most flexibility to y'all with our recommendation.
Great, thank you.
Quickly revisiting the agenda, the packet, the document that was shared by our accountant is different than the one that was emailed to me. So these are two different ones. Regardless of that, we don't have it published for residents to take a look at, to review, and to comment. Can we get that corrected before the day's end and have that published so that residents can take a look at what we're doing here?
Probably not by day's end, but certainly first thing tomorrow.
Okay.
Do you mind if I hop in a
Please.
little bit? So anecdotally, Lauren probably represents more Williamson County districts than I do, but everything that Lauren is describing, including I have Tuma just off 1431 at Sam Bass Road, almost same thing, about a 10% reduction overall value in the district. Those two are completely built out. The only districts that I represent in Williamson County that have a higher AV are those that still have active home building. So, that's, everything from Lauren's perspective matches mine. Hers is probably more expensive, but I just want to point out that the reduction in AV that you guys are seeing here isn't specific to Blockhouse in any way. This seems to be the tact that the chief appraiser took for almost all of Roker this year, from my perspective.
And I can tell you we're seeing that in other appraisal districts as well. Hayes, Travis, even down in Houston, Montgomery, all over, we've seen more conservative assessed valuations this year.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the subcommittee was able to meet with Lauren prior to this, and we agree with publishing at the max, and Tyler's budget is currently built off of being published at the max. So if you wanna kind of start going over some of that, and then we can look at some of the different recommendations.
Sure, I just sent a request
Amanda, do
for
you mind
sharing.
if
Oh, go ahead.
we got at least one new board member and one visitor here, so just to refresh everyone to know what the process is here. At our meeting today, you guys will take a vote to undertake a publication. And within that publication, you'll have a proposed tax rate, and we would never recommend levying higher than that. Here, if you desire to levy your tax at that rate anyway, it's the rollback rate, you really can't exceed that without an election. But you can always levy lower than what is published, so the primary decision that will be made tonight is just the rate that will go on that publication. That's all.
Okay, so I have my working copy of the proposed budget that we're working on so far. As we mentioned earlier, we are using the 2812 M&O rate that is comprised from the max rate that we can publish at 5910. Other assumptions that I've already plugged into here are a $3.25 increase to the base rate for water. Also, there is, according to our rate study, we had an increase to our volumetric rate as well. So that would be about a $23,000 increase. Lauren mentioned that the fire rate went up, but because the values went down, the total expense and income from the fire tax stayed the same. Didn't change very much at all. I will say I have been working on this since I sent out the budget for posting, so this is a little bit different than what you guys might have, and I'll send another copy whenever we're done with this meeting today. But just diving into it, we'll kind of go pretty broad for the revenues because there's not much we can do aside from maintenance tax and the water rates that we're considering. It puts us at about $5.9 million worth of revenues. Again, we were able to shift some of those pennies over from debt to M&O, which did cause a little bit of an increase for your maintenance tax collections. For expenses, we've been looking at this for the past couple of weeks, trying to get as much fat trimmed off of this as we can prior to this meeting. I'll go ahead and show the bottom right now. We're just about balanced. We're showing just about $3,000 under. Major items are, your purchased water, your maintenance for both wastewater and sewer related items, your garbage, your landscape. We have a proposal from Priority. We've dug through that and kind of figured out what's necessary and what's not, so we've kind of already dug through that one. No changes to pool cleaning or lifeguards. And the fire taxes, again, directly correlated to the revenues. So yeah, from there, I'll kind of just open it up to any questions. Is there anything specific that you guys want to dive into, really?
Lisa has a recommendation.
I think we should look at the full item, we're at 75,000, let's take that down to 70,000 and balance the budget.
Okay.
So just a quick comment. So the proposed budget I am looking at has since been updated.
Yes.
Okay, so then let's pause in what we post tonight because it'll be confusing to post this. Let's get the real numbers from this meeting, if that's all right, Sean, and post the new proposed budget and such. Okay. Okay. It is a working process, and that's why this is called a working meeting and not a regular meeting. Working, yeah, okay. I have one question, with the $325 of the base fee, does that completely cover the increase for TDS?
So the increase for TDS, we're projecting, what was it, a 3% increase?
Have it here. I just know that's where we were caught one year.
And if you look
Yeah,
at,
several years the board didn't look at it.
That's right.
Yeah.
and if you look at this separate box I have to the side, that kind of takes all of your water and wastewater revenues versus your expenses that are only related to water and wastewater. As you can see, we are still a little bit under on those, so.
So I see $67,000 increase for TDS, is that correct? Okay, so we do need to make sure that we're capturing that full 67 in the base fee increase.
Right, so with the base fee increase, each dollar is about $24,000, so for $3 it's about $78,000.
Okay, so it's not just to make up the TDS, it's supposed to make up some other things as well, so, okay, so that is covering it.
Right, yes.
Okay,
Let's take that into account.
Including a rate study recommendation as well, so.
Right.
Most districts are raising the base.
Most districts are raising the base fees.
Yes, because of growing costs and expenses, and so we are allocating for that.
How are we able to make that conclusion that most are already doing things when everybody's in the same part of this process?
We rely on our experts to tell us what's happening in different
Okay, then
locations.
how do we know that?
Well, I mean, water rates are, continuously going up because we're continuously being charged more by vendors that provide water. Also, vendors that do any maintenance and repair items, those expenses go up, so it's kind of just natural that.
Okay, are you able to publish a list of which districts have already committed to this or haven't? Because if we're gonna be taking this into account for our opinion and our vote, we should have facts, not just throwing out a thought. Most districts, is that 51 out of 100? Is there more information we can get?
Well, we could look at that, but it's not as much interest in what other districts are doing. It's more so that we are already showing that we're not collecting enough water and wastewater related revenues to cover the expenses directly for water and wastewater. We're using maintenance tax collections to cover the difference. And as you see here, it's about $250,000.
Okay, and forgive my ignorance on this point. I should probably know this, but why are we raising taxes for real estate value to give water and sewage services? Shouldn't the water and sewage services go through our Crossroads bill, where we pay Crossroads for our water and sewage stuff? Why is it that everybody that owns a home here is paying for water services, when that seems to me, and probably a lot of residents, that it would be a different item?
Sean, you wanna take that?
Yeah, and it's a good question, Robert. It's kind of a philosophical question, just to be candid with you. I've talked extensively with operators about this over the years. I don't know that I have at least one district that spends a lot of their O&M tax on running their water treatment plant. So, to completely silo all costs related to water and wastewater within your rate structure, I think that is philosophically, that's something you wanna do. We can work towards it, but I don't think with most districts, and I don't have a quantified list or anything like that, I would say in my experience, it's pretty common to supplement operations or utility operations with your own budget.
Robert, you said something about Crossroads deal?
We pay our bill to Crossroads for our water bill.
Well, yeah, okay, and let me just, and I may be off base when I say this, but we recognize that Crossroads reads our meters, and they send the bill to our residents based on the rates. We're kind of talking about base rates, volumetric rates, to our residents. But Crossroads doesn't make money on the water and wastewater rate itself. The district pays the city of Cedar Park for its water and wastewater service under master contracts for both those services. So when you're talking about Crossroads, just make sure that we're not confusing that Crossroads is getting that money. They're passing that money straight through, okay? And some of it's excess, certainly, okay? But it's mainly paid to the city of Cedar Park for those services, okay? Does that make any sense? Does that help out that? And maybe I'm misinterpreting your.
So if I was to read, basically, the water bill that we get on
Yeah.
a monthly basis goes to Crossroads, and then for the most part directly over to Cedar Park.
No, we
They-
pay Cedar Park directly.
But all Crossroads does is collect that money for the district.
Okay, but then there's a lot of other maintenance items, reading meters, different things like that's
Some of
part of the
that's-
real estate.
Some of that's covered in
Tax.
some of that's currently covered in your water and wastewater rates. And a significant amount's also covered in your maintenance tax.
Okay.
And I think not to go back and comment on what you're doing, Sean, is that there's a couple of different philosophies, and we see this in different districts. We have seen a significant movement by our districts to try to cover all the water and wastewater expenses in the water and wastewater rates, instead of supplementing the rates with some tax revenue. There are districts that do it all different ways, but there has been kind of a shift towards that. And part of it is because of the relying upon maintenance tax, you're in turn relying upon the assessed valuation. Yeah, the district sets the rate, but the assessed valuation, we all know, is set by the appraisal district. District has no control over their appraisal district. But as appraisal district goes up and down on values, then that available operation maintenance revenue component of your tax becomes more volatile. And if you cover your base services through the rate, you control the rate. The district sets the rates. So it's a more predictable outcome.
Thank you.
Does that help?
It does,
Okay.
but I
I'll
will
probably raise you-
probably need to watch the video again. And, and I think that if any residents listening and they're so confused, you do come to quite a bit of meetings and
Yeah.
you might be able to help, after a meeting.
Well, I'm just,
Clear up
and I'm happy to help in any way I can through the district. I think that your consultants are basically on the same page generally about this issue. And I'm not trying to put words in any of our consultants' mouth. We all do a lot of districts, and we're very fortunate, blessed to do that. We enjoy helping y'all. We try to bring some of that experience here, put on the table, and some of us may express it same thing in a different way. I think I'm somewhat saying the same thing in a different way perhaps, and maybe one method of communication resonates more than another sometimes, but your consultants are on the same basis.
Okay.
Sandy, Sandy, this is your first time through this process, though you've sat in these meetings for probably 10 years. Do you have any questions, or do you understand the process?
I understand the process.
Okay.
I have one question and I'm not sure where to ask it.
Oh, here's, now's
Yeah,
good.
good, it's a
Yeah.
workshop.
This is the whole wrong place. I understand that at the swimming pool, that during the week, that lanes are blocked off and that our pool manager, offers private lessons. Do we collect that money?
Amanda, we just had this
So,
conversation.
yeah, so we do not actually take that money, but what it does for us is it keeps our base fee with him low. So if he's able to supplement their income as the management company, our rates don't go up. And we've kept the same rates with him from the start of when he came on with us in Blockhouse. So that yes and no. It supplements because it helps in that way, but it doesn't actually come directly into our pockets.
Okay.
And it is available to all residents. It's on all of our website information. Residents have access to the same activities. It's not just out of district.
So there is some in district and there's some out of district?
Yes,
Okay, so it's not limited
No.
to in district?
no.
Okay, Sean, you had something to
Yeah,
share?
one of the things I just mentioned, and Robert dovetails with your questions, but I think Lisa, you might have alluded to, but we've included the cost for a rate study in this, and to refresh everyone's memory, we're in year 5 of a rate study that a group called NewGen did about 6 years ago. And they project out utility expenditures, depreciation, et cetera. And so for the volumetric water changes that are being proposed in the rate order, and we'll have that in front of you next month, that is based upon that rate order. And that's one of the ways to try to ensure that, you are looking at your rate order each year to keep up with that and to keep up with O&M in the system and that sort of thing. So while that's an increased cost here tonight for the budget, that will provide, that will ensure that you're keeping up with operation costs over the next 5 years. As it pertains to maintenance, and I really learned this the hard way just by going through the Blockhouse budget, I've learned that there's different variations of maintenance, right? So as for instance, there's kind of everyday stuff that these guys do out at the plant. Then you have pipes break, and that's probably a middle form, midstream operations issues. But then we've got stuff like the pumps that went out at the plant. And you can argue that that's probably more of a capital cost, but it probably gets booked under O&M when we go to it at the end of the year. So for stuff like that, I would say it probably is, I don't know that we distinguish every line item where the money's coming from. But for an item like that, I don't know that you can always plan for it. So having some portion of your O&M tax as opposed to your rate revenue dedicated to that probably makes sense for those purposes.
And one of the items that we mentioned in budgeting conversations that we've had, which is kind of a moot point at this avenue, is that we've seen year over year that the district has gained assets above ground. Unfortunately, under capital outlay, you've never seen any allocated monies that would continually allow for those assets to be maintained, therefore they're coming out of the O and M, as opposed to having to dip into that rate. And so if previous, boards had sat down and looked at this financing from that perspective, you would have actually had some money allocated to be able to manage these assets, instead of hearing, some deterioration and having to pull that money from the residents themselves. And so that's where you see that money having to be spent from.
Well, I hope this live video gets flagged for any grumpy resident that thinks they're being overtaxed.
Sure.
Watch this first, and I appreciate the constructive, sharing.
One thing I'll just briefly add is Sean touched on the fact that there's a budget in the a line item in the proposed budget for a rate study of your rates. The board has the opportunity, I should say, to reconsider rates at any board meeting during the year.
Yeah.
You set your taxes once a year.
That's true, yes.
Yeah.
And I believe we have adjusted those twice in a year.
But it was to make up
For,
for years of no
Not down.
adjustment.
Yeah, you're looking at 2005, all the way into roughly 2016, where
So
you
it
didn't
was
see those rates changed, which was a detriment to the district, because when you're actually getting into the meats and bones, and you have residents coming in and asking, where is this money being spent, or where's the lack of it, that's where you're missing the mark.
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, that was good. All right.
That's all I have, unless you guys have anything else
Amanda,
you
do you
wanna
have
dive
anything
into?
I don't think we have anything else. We've been working on this significantly.
You guys have, you've spent a lot of time, and thank you. I really appreciate the finance team and Lisa and Tyler and everyone. What I would just recommend is go back, take a look at this. Like I said, you'll make sure the most recent proposed budget, the one where we just adjusted pools to 70,000 is posted. Please do take a look at it, see if there's anywhere else you think that should be adjusted up or down.
Will you go down so we can see what that final number is real quick with the adjustment?
And then our, let's see, so we need to establish and take the record vote on the proposed tax rate, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so as stated, the proposed tax rate is the 3.5% before rollback, right?
5910.
0.5910 is the max. And just to explain again, in case anybody forgot, you post the max, that doesn't mean we're going to settle on that. But if you don't post the max, you can't go up, if we said 57 cents, we couldn't go above that if we needed to. So it's best to set the max and then come back.
What does the budget currently have?
It uses the.
5.5910.
The balanced budget does reflect the max.
Correct. Okay, so do I have a motion to,
Set it up.
sure,
Yeah.
set it up.
So board members, within a single motion, we can do a couple things here before we, so D is what Logan was just referring to, establish and take a record vote on the proposed tax rate, that rollback rate being 5910 as discussed. The second is to schedule a public hearing in which adoption of the 26 tax rate will be considered. So if you look back here on the publication that Lauren Scrifford put together, I don't know that the date was on there.
September 2nd?
September
Second Wednesday.
September 9th, there's a deadline for the
Okay, yeah.
public
sorry.
hearing.
The calendar we put together, of course, states that, so, if y'all don't mind just checking your calendars real quick, just to make sure, because once we publish this, it's officially the date, so, 9/9 at 6:30, and we will be planning to be back in Walker House for that meeting. Does that date look good for everybody?
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, those air conditioners work.
Yeah,
I made
and then the third,
Third
And then the,
item, yeah, would just be
publication.
authorized publication, water district notice and public hearing, right, so,
okay.
so
So do I have a motion to set the tax rate at 0.5910, as well as set the date for the adoption of the tax rate at September 9th, 2026 at 6:30 at the Walker House? Do I have a motion?
Motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That's 3 votes and 1 non-vote.
or that vote is recorded in publication, you want to be shown as not voting.
Sure.
Okay, our next meeting is on the 26th. I'm assuming we'll go over the budget again at that time. If anybody has any questions, we can definitely address that at that time. And is there anything else? before we adjourn?
I wanna make sure we're getting the right things published. We have a new updated version
Yes,
here.
I'll send this.
So I think the one that Lauren shared with me is out of date now, so, but we'll have this one published.
This one didn't change at all. This is,
Okay,
Right,
so that'll be published. Then there's also the email with the agenda and the proposed budget.
right, so that'll be.
That'll be published, and your latest version of that will be
That's
published.
the same thing. The proposed
Yeah,
budget
yes, so
is,
this is what you're seeing on the screen.
It's the
right
same
there.
thing.
I'm gonna send you an updated version of that on the screen.
Okay,
That won't change.
all right, sounds good.
okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Go second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
That's three and one non-vote.
Yeah, just wanna make sure that